Let's talk about how to use a miter saw. I'm on a mission to teach you that power tools do not have to be scary and you can totally learn how to build cool shit for yourself and your home. Let's get into it. The miter saw is one of the most popular types of saws that you will see in DIY, woodworking, construction, and that's because it's incredibly versatile. There are a lot of things that you can do with a miter saw. You might also hear people call this a chop saw, and though technically a true miter saw and a chop saw have different functionalities, they look pretty much exactly the same. So let's break this saw down and talk about how to use it safely and effectively. First, this is the blade. This is a 12-inch miter saw, so I have a 12-inch blade on here, and this is the blade guard. It will rise up automatically as you bring the blade down and engage the blade. Miter saws also typically have a double engage switch, which means that to turn this on, I need to both push and pull on a little 2-button system on the side here. My miter saw is a compound miter saw, which means I can make 3 different types of cuts with it. The first is just a straight cut, right? We're going right down the middle. The second is a mitered cut, or an angled cut across the face of a piece of material. And I do that by opening it up and swiveling it. My miter saw goes up to 47 degrees. And then the last type of cut is a beveled cut, which is an angled cut across the end of a piece of material. And I do that by untwisting back here, and then I can actually tilt my saw blade up to 45 degrees. There are a few things to keep in mind when you are using a miter saw, and the first thing that I like to point out actually has to do with measuring. This is true with any saw blade. If I make a little tick mark where I want to cut my material at, the width of your blade is going to take off about 1/8 of an inch of material. So you always want the edge of your blade to be right up against your mark line rather than centered on it, or else you're gonna lose that 1/8 of an inch when you actually make that cut. So I always like to make my mark on my piece of material, bring my saw blade down to make sure it's lining up exactly where I want it, and then I will make the cut. There should be a little symbol on your miter saw that tells you where to not put your hands so that they don't get chopped off. Obviously, you can see where the blade is going to land, but I would not put my fingers within 2 inches of it because I would like to keep them all. Another thing with the miter saw is you are always going to push the blade away from you. You never want to pull the miter saw blade towards you. So when you're cutting, you're bringing the saw down and pushing it backwards in a smooth motion. And to help prevent kickback or your offcut flying around, once you make your cut, you can disengage the blade, but keep the blade head lowered until it stops spinning so that this little piece that you cut off doesn't go flying across the room. Let's do a demo cut. And that's how you use a miter saw. Let me know if this was helpful or if you have any other questions, and follow for more woodworking and DIY tips. Bye.